pub or whatever, and then you'd have a dressing up shirt, wouldn't you? I suppose.
A dressing up shirt. Who puts it on and looks like a sailor?
No, I meant like to go to a wedding or a funeral.
You can't wear the same shirt for both of those occasions.
They're both
you
white.
sicko.
Of course you can. You wear a white shirt to a wedding and a funeral.
I don't wear white shirts to weddings.
Why not?
Because they're for funerals.
What do you wear to a wedding then?
I wear a sort of a pastel-y coloured shirt. The last wedding I went to, I wore like a...
You wore a white shirt at my
It wasn't a
sister's
white shirt, it was a beigey shirt,
I don't
wasn't
even
it?
remember what you wore.
If I wore a white shirt that day, I must have got confused and thought it was a funeral.
I'd have to see if there's any pictures. There'll be loads of pictures, because we were taking loads of pictures of you next to a lesbian who looked like you. So we've got loads of pictures of that.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Well, that might have been the point when me and her swapped shirts, so if I'm wearing a white shirt, it could have been hers. Because she had a nicer suit than me.
She did. She was. This is the thing as well. They get the best of both. They get to dress in. They get to find the only stylish men's clothes out there and wear them. But yeah, I could do. I said to my wife the other day, I need Gok Wan to come and educate me on fashion. I don't know anything about it.
You don't want Gok Wan to educate you. You'll start wearing scarves.
Well, I don't care. If
I care. The moment you start wearing scarves is the moment this podcast ends, and I replace you with Richard Bacon.
But no, he'd sort me out. I think old Gok. He'd take me in. Although he'd want me to run around naked at a bloody shopping centre, which I wouldn't have any.
He used to be fatter than us.
Wonder what he did. Do you reckon he just
stopped eating?
drugs?
Probably.
I didn't mean drugs like
I bet if you saw him with his shirt off, I bet he's got some saggy skin in there.
He probably had it all cut off, surely.
Don't know. Gok Wan, we want to see you naked. There you go. There's a quote for the show reel. Should we get? We're over halfway through the show. Should we get into this week's topic before I have to throw you out of iTunes? So I
do
can go
these
and cut
shows
the
have
grass?
halves, or do they just come in one big package? I don't know where I was going with that.
Awesome. This week, Inventions, and I've done some research because immediately when we announced Inventions on last week's show, we straight away looked at Stephen Fry's 100 Greatest Gadgets list on the internet, and we actually sat here between the two of us and did about 20 minutes of this show after last week's show because it actually interested us. So in front of me, I have Stephen Fry's 100 Greatest Gadgets because it's quite an interesting list. Did you know he claims the lighter is the greatest gadget of all time?
We established that after I was adamant it was the Apple Corer.
Yeah, the Apple Corer is
number 9.
9th on the list, I think. But there's some quite interesting stuff on
because that
this
show
list.
actually ends. The show actually ends with him coring an apple and him saying that it's his favourite.
That doesn't mean it's the best, though, does it?
That's what annoyed me, because it's Stephen Fry's 100 Greatest Gadgets, but apparently...
Yeah, but he'll have a committee. It's like when we do this. We don't get to sit here and decide what our favourite invention is. The best thing from backroom staff have decided that, and we just basically have to read out their script. That's how these shows work.
Mouthpieces,
yeah,
aren't
he
we?
works on the same basis. You find the best-looking one, or in our case, the best-looking two, and Sheepdog, and... we then basically speak on behalf of all the ugly trolls who make the decisions in the background, and that's the same way Stephen Fry works.
That is how he works, to be fair. You should see him.
But we've got his list here. Some of these, I'd argue whether they're gadgets or not. Apparently, a pen is number 8 on his list.
Well, what is a pen if it's not a gadget?
It's just a pen, isn't it?
It was a gadget once upon a time. Some bloke's there with his bloody feathers, and matey turns up, well, see this? It's full of ink. It's a pen.
The electric kettle is 19th.
Yeah, again... Matey's there boiling his water over a fire. You turn up with your electric kettle, I assume waiting for plug sockets to be invented.
Number 23 on the list, Sheepdog. Have you ever had one of these? A tease made.
A tease made?
Yeah, you know what a tease made is?
They're the things that go by your bed and make tea for a long time. And my nan had one of them.
Always wanted one of them.
My nan had one in a guest room that we always stayed in when we visited and stayed overnight. But I never saw her use it. And she never had anyone else stay with her, so I doubt it ever got used. But I wonder if that's still at her house. She's just moved, actually. She's probably threw it out. Shit.
Why would anyone throw out a tease made? It's the 23rd greatest gadget of all time.
If she's still got that when I go visit her at her new house, I'm going to steal it, because she won't have used it. It's probably completely antique now. It won't have been used. It's mint condition. But I always wanted to stick a cup under it, stick a tea bag in it, some water. It's a bit of a faff, isn't it? To be fair. You could your coffee machine could work as one of them if you got one of those.
I used to have a coffee machine that had a timer built into it. It was a filter coffee machine, so every morning when I walked downstairs there'd be a pot of fresh coffee waiting for me.
Do you think, I can't remember what they're called, but those plug socket things that are on a timer that turn...
Yeah, a timer.
The power, yeah, okay, so the power goes on and off and that. How long, is it a minute between each bit?
Yeah, maybe. Depends. You can get fancy ones.
Because I was just thinking, if I could get one of them to turn so that my coffee machine I've got at home was always pushed on, and it just kind of powered on, and then...
But then you've got about 20 seconds to get out of bed and turn that off.
No, it'll turn itself off, because you can make them do that.
What, you want it to be on for 20 seconds to just fill up a cup of coffee for you?
Basically. And then just go off again, and that'd be awesome.
Number 82 on this list. Have you ever seen what one of these is? It's called a bull worker. Do you know what a bull worker is?
No.
A bull worker... I suggest you probably have a look at this list and have a look at what a bull worker is, or just Google bull worker so you know what a bull worker is, because I used to have one of these. It was invented by Gert F. Kolbelow and became available to buy during the 1960s. And it's basically a metal tube with a cable on either side that you use to work out with.
Oh, yeah. My other nan, not the nan with the tea maid, but my other nan used to have these all over a spare room. I think my nan had 8 kids, and one of my uncles must have bought a load of them, and we used to just play pulling them really hard and letting them go at each other.
I don't believe these work.
No.
I used one of these for about a year, and it made no difference to me at all.
Isn't the idea that it's meant to exercise your back muscles or something?
But you're supposed to be able to do a full body workout using one of these, and instead of lifting weights, and you have all these different types of exercise that you do on it. I mean, it used to take like half an hour to do all of the bloody different exercises, and it would ache afterwards, but I didn't end up looking like The Rock, so I stopped using it.
I bet you're supposed to supplement it with other stuff that The Rock probably did, and you don't.
I know for a fact that every Sunday The Rock eats 20 Krispy Kreme donuts, because I read it in an interview with him once.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he has a day off on Sunday. He eats clean 6 days a week, and every Sunday he has a day off.
Do you think he then vomits them all back up? Because
wherever he's filming, he has his donuts delivered, and he'll just sit there and eat his donuts. I've taken on that part of his regime, but I've not done the other 6 days yet. So I'm 1/7 The Rock, basically.
It would almost be worth the other 6 days just to have the 7th day where you just sat there and ate 20 donuts, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
These athletic people have kind of got it right, haven't they? We can't afford to sit there and do it for just gorge ourselves on donuts, because we'll just end up even fatter.
I don't know, I do it occasionally.
I don't.
Well, sometimes I'll buy a box of 4 from Tesco and just munch through 4 donuts. You've seen me sit and eat a donut in the car at 8:30 in the morning on the way to uni.
Yeah. I made a jam and cornflake tart the other day. That was quite cool.
What and what tart?
You basically make some shortbread pastry. And then
you didn't make the pastry.
I did, honestly did.
You did not make pastry.
I honestly did, and it was bitching. Although, hear me out here, I made it, and you have to put it in the fridge, don't you? And you have to roll it out and put it in your little quiche tray and whatever.
Everyone's got a quiche tray. That's got to be one of the greatest inventions of all time.
I was like, what the hell? I was thinking, God, I have to find something that would be a makeshift quiche tray, and then pulled one out of the cupboard. I was like, oh, brilliant. So, yeah, I stuck that in everything, and then you have to smother jam all over it. And then you mix syrup, cornflakes...
Should have used molasses.
Syrup, cornflakes, brown sugar, and something else.
Molasses would have done 2 of those categories. You could have just mixed molasses and cornflakes. You'd have been there.
Anyway, into a saucepan, stir it all up, and then just pour that over the jam in the thing. And what I first of all did was pour it all over it, left it for a bit, and then cut a bit out, and was like, oh, the pastry ain't done. And then I read the next step, which said put it back in the oven for another 6 or 7 minutes. So I put it back in. Then it was absolutely
Did you blind bake your pastry?
What does that mean?
That means you cook it with nothing in. So you put some of those... You put something heavy on it, like you put a piece of greaseproof paper and a load of rice to hold it down so it doesn't rise.
But I didn't have anything to weight it down with, so I made a load of fork holes in it. And then I made sure I checked it every sort of 4 minutes.
If you'd have just put some greaseproof paper and a load of rice, that would have done the job.
I was looking at... Cause it said put some stones on it, like from, cooking
So
stones.
you had a look around the garden, couldn't find any stones.
I knew that it was baking stones. I'm not ignorant. I just don't know anything about fashion. Cooking, I'm fine with. I know cooking stuff. But yeah, that was bitching. My daughter really wanted to try it, and when she tried it, I thought she was just humouring me. She said, oh, I like it, yeah. And then she didn't want to eat the other half.
Was this a recipe you invented, or is this a thing that actually exists?
It's a thing that exists. What reminded me of it was I visited a school. She got a new primary school she's going to in September, and they made us some. They basically let us try their school dinners, and I had a bit of quiche, and my wife had a bit of cornflake tart, as it's known. So I thought, right, I'm making that tomorrow. I had to carry my son and she walked round to the corner shop behind my house. He weighs a bloody ton.
Well, he's 19.
It was so
Why
heavy.
did you carry him? Was he drunk again?
And I was just like, I can't be asked anymore. I thought, no, you will bake this tart. I was chuffed with it. It came out awesome. Really nice. I might have to start making other stuff.
Well, there's Sheepdog's recipe of the week.
Yeah, definitely.
Should we do some listener questions on inventions?
Yeah.
Right, what have we got here? We've got a lot of people have asked very similar questions, so we'll crack through these ones first. And it is, what is the worst invention of all time? Most pointless invention. Just to credit some names there. Drake19 UK off Twitter, Crooked T off of Twitter, Joe Callan off Twitter, Ding Dang Do off of Twitter have all pretty much asked that same question. What's the worst invention you've ever seen? Oh, and the Woolster as well. He's actually mentioned inflatable dartboard as a bad invention. I don't think that exists, does it?
I think they do, but I don't think the darts are metal. I think they're, some other material that just sticks to it. Velcro darts, aren't they?
So what's the most pointless invention?
See, I've been thinking about this since I read the question, and I genuinely can't think of anything that pointless.
I'll tell you something pointless that I've seen, and they sell them in gift shops everywhere. You know those plastic cups that you get that squash down to become a little flat disc, and then you pull them out. It's like a telescopic cup.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell is the point of them?
So you don't have to store.
But say,
cups.
I can understand. I've researched this, and people use them for camping to save space. So, say you've got a family of 4 or 5 going camping, and you've got one of those each. So when you're storing that, you've got this little stack of them, yeah? Where you've got 4 on top of each other, and they're maybe 1.5 inches thick when they're squashed down. So you've got them stacked together, so that's 6 inches high. Yeah? You're following my maths so far?
Yep.
If you got 4 ordinary cups and just put them inside each other, they're also going to be a similar sort of height, and they cost less. So what's the point of the collapsible ones?
People, are they? They're probably working for one person per bag.
I don't get it. I don't understand what they're for.
I still can't think of it. I was thinking this is a good question. I was trying to think of anything, and I kept thinking, no, I can see a point to that. I can see a use for that. But a mate of mine once made a thing. It wasn't an invention exactly, but it was an electronics class, and he was making a device that if a cat came in your garden, it would make a light, or it would power something that would scare it away. And he'd been making it for about 9 weeks. And when he was showing me it, he was like, yes, you press this button, and then it goes off. And I said, well, wouldn't the cat need to press that button? And he just put it down on the side and walked away into a cupboard and just shook his head to himself alone for a bit, and then come back and was like, yeah. And he still got a good mark for it, but yeah, he made the cat scarer aware that the cat has to press the button.
Nice.
To do it.
I've got that cat feeding bowl that's on the floor behind you that's on a timer.
That's awesome.
And then it actually has a voice of me calling my cat to come and have his dinner when I'm not here. That still goes off sometimes when I'm walking around the house. I wonder who's talking, and I realise it's me.
Brilliant.
Charlie, dinner!
I brought these transmitter things for my TV. It's the cat coming to find his dinner. It's not really Charlie, if you thought. But yeah, I bought these transmitter things off I think it was off the internet. Basically, you can plug into the back of your telly, and they transmit whatever's coming out of that screen to another transmitter, which is connected to another screen. So you could basically have the same thing on 2 different tellies at the other side of the house. At the time, I thought, oh, this is brilliant. It means I can transmit Sky upstairs and watch Sky upstairs instead of having multi-room. But they're just utterly pointless. They didn't really work at all. They beamed up, but it was very poor quality. And I even tried it in the next room when we moved into my mum and dad's for a bit when we were having our first kid, and it was beaming what they were watching or whatever was on the other channel, because I had like Virgin, so you could have 2 different things on, beaming that into the other room, and the signal was just so poor. They were absolutely pointless, and they cost like 50 quid, so they weren't like cheap ones, so they're probably pretty pointless, although they sounded like a good idea.
Got a question from Dean Dang Do off of Twitter. If you can invent a machine to make you live forever, would you use it?
Yeah, definitely.
He actually says live for every rather than ever, but I assume he means forever.
I assume I can make everyone else live forever with it as well.
But wouldn't you then suffer from overcrowding?
Who cares? Because you can live forever, you'll find a way around it. The universe is huge. I don't get this whole argument. People say, well, why would you want to live forever? You get bored. Well, no, you wouldn't really.
I wouldn't get bored, I just wouldn't want to have 19 people living in my house with me.
Well, then don't. You've got the choice to just say, do you know what? I'm bored of you lot.
Imagine how busy Tesco's going to be on a hot day like this. You said yourself they've already run out of meat
you
at
wouldn't
12
need to
o'clock
eat.
in the
You're living
morning.
forever.
But I'd want to eat. I wouldn't want to not have a barbecue on a warm Sunday.
Yeah, but you could go out into the woods and just kill whatever you like because you're immortal.
You can't kill anything. They live forever as